Good morning. Can everybody hear me okay? So I'm putting some links in here. The clear vinyl that I'm, the clear jelly vinyl that, not vinyl, the clear, I guess it is vinyl jelly I'm using, I got from Glitterbug Fairy when I went to So Magical, like it'll be 2 years ago this coming February. It's so pretty. It's like a lilac color. I have yet to use it. I actually forgot about it. And when I was looking for clear like vinyl, it fell on my head. So I was like, okay, well maybe this is a sign to use it. And so I'm using it. We're going to be doing the Crosswind patterns Crypt Keeper, and this pattern is super fun to do. I always wanted to do a tutorial, but every time I want to do a tutorial, it's never spooky season. So last year I was going to do it, and then I had it cut out and I got sick and I forgot to do it. So I was like, I got to do it this year. This pattern comes together relatively quickly. It's super fun to make, but then I always get asked, I get emails all the time asking me to do something with clear or jelly or vinyl. Um, and so I was like, well, what if I make the Crypt Keeper with jelly? And then this fabric I got from Sam's Creation in Canada. And I was like, they go really well together, and I'll just make it clear. So there's no internal pockets. It's just the Crypt Keeper's exterior tombstone bag. And I thought, kids have like trick-or-treating bags. How fun would this be just to carry around for the rest of the days for spooky season? Good morning. I'm looking forward to how it comes together too. So when you get the pattern, the things we're going to use the components are the pattern pieces, and we're using her measurements, of course. And if you get this pattern, she has a lot of cool things. So first of all, you're going to learn how. We're not doing it today, but if you guys want to have a tutorial on this bag fully without being the clear version, please let me know. She does a skull, but this bag has the potential to do so much more, because in a lot of our spooky movies, like that's used Jack Skeleton. You can make this like a Boogie's tombstone. You can make these the tombstones for all the trees that Jack comes upon, the Christmas tree, the Easter, whatever. You can have so much fun with this. And I think this would be a really good, even like if your daughter or your son or one of your children are having like a sleepover, if you made these and then like they had their names on it and it had cute like pajamas and candies and whatnot. It's just, I can see these being so many things. And the reason why I'm saying you can do it is because it doesn't require a lot of material. As you can see, it's not that big. This is the Tim Holtz stapler, not that big. 8-inch zip, 8-inch scissors. It's not that big, so it doesn't require a whole lot of material, and I think it comes together relatively fast. Now, you do see me having a stapler. You know how I feel about this, but this has a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So unlike a lot of people that we have nowadays that have a 1/4 of an inch or 3/8 of an inch, I feel more comfortable putting staples in a 1/2 inch, because if I keep the staples at 1/8 of an inch, I can just cut them out and I'm not plucking them out, which means that they're not going to be scraping at the bed of my sewing machine. Which makes me more comfortable. Am I still nervous? Oh, heck yeah. But it's more obtainable in my head. Like the math is mathing more, if that makes sense. Good morning, Julie. So we're going to be following some of the things, but things that are not, because we're making it clear we're not going to be using interfacings or anything. So let's start with just prepping. I'm doing something a little bit different from the pattern. I'm going to start prepping our webbing. So I took a piece of jelly, 1 inch by 1 inch, and I'm going to put this on the end of the webbing so that way it can help prevent fraying. And I'm going to stitch it down, back stitch at the beginning and the end at 1/8 of an inch from where the jelly stops. Now you could put, if you have, strap ends, you could definitely put that on, but I had scrap jelly, and I always think it's super cute to have the straps have something that's on the bag. I think it makes it look more cohesive, if that makes sense, and it gives it more a handcrafted look versus handmade. I know I say this a lot. I feel there's nothing wrong with handmade, but when I think handcrafted, I think of luxury, something that's been like this person hones in their craft details, and something that is worth a lot of money. And I think small details like this can make a lot of things just work together easy. So let's start putting our strap together. I'm going to take my slider. I'm going to take one end, and I'm going to feed it in. And it doesn't matter if it's welded closed or not. You can put it in either way. No matter what, you're going to see if it's not welded all the way, you're going to see that slight opening. I prefer to have my sliders welded, but because this bag is light, I was looking for not an open mouth, something that can lock in the webbing. I do notice that when I use webbing, if you use a wide mouth slider, it slides down on the customer more. So I have a tendency of using smaller sliders or solid ones because it's more equipped for webbing, especially if you're using seatbelt webbing. There is a trick to this. If you only have a wide mouth one, you need to, I think it's from Joe from Country Cow. She has like this really cool trick where she puts um either Decavo Heavy or Peltex in the middle of the bar when she rivets this in place, and it creates a bulk in this seam right here, which then allows you to use whatever slider you have. It's a really cool trick, and it's not mine. It is Joe's from Country Cow. So I'm going to punch a hole. I'm gonna remove you. Let's see. Okay. All right, so let's see. I'm going to punch a hole. I'm going to make sure I have the right side. Sorry, I was removing some of those nasty messages. Trolls be trolling. You know how they get. I'm going to punch a hole. And I'm going to get a rivet. And you don't have to necessarily do rivets. You can sew across it if you feel more comfortable with that. I actually sometimes prefer to sew across them because I'm always worried that what if my rivet starts making it fray. Sometimes I put fray check or glue around it just to make sure it doesn't. Let me go set this. Okay. And then we're going to get our swivel hook. We're going to make sure our strap is not getting all twisty. We're going to feed our swivel hook in here. Again, make sure our strap is nice and flat. Feed this through. The adjuster up and down. And I like to just pull just to make sure that this is nice and flat and nothing's twisted. And then we have another one. So I'm going to punch a hole through here. And I believe I got this really pretty mauve purplish kind of webbing through Joy. Hold on. I think I'm trying to think. Georgia Girl Stitch. I generally get a lot of my webbing from her. That I like her cotton so much. Her cotton webbing, and it's just really great quality. All right. So we have our strap. It's all done. And let's start working on our strap connectors. All right. So I took I have a 2-inch piece that is 6 inches long, and I'm going to stitch down each side at 1/8 of an inch. I use double-sided tape, a 1/8 of an inch, and I just had it fold on to each other so the ends are butt against each other. Let's see. Yeah, it's like a mauve pink. It's not like pink. You know how I feel about pink, so just let me have this. I didn't have any purple or lilac webbing. I was like searching hard. I was like, I know I have some purple. Have you ever just like looked at your webbing like when you're running low and you're like, these are the colors. Why did I buy these colors? Why did I buy these colors? That's what I was going through in my stash. I'm like, what? Why did I buy these colors? Like, this is not me. And I was like, I must have had a plan for these, and apparently I did not. So I'm going to take this and fold this in half. And then I'm going to cut it. I'm going to slide. You know what? I need to get... I'm going to slide my hardware on here. And just put a clip on it. It's easier for me to slide the hardware and then put a clip on there because I have a tendency of forgetting to put like the connectors on sometimes. So if I see this like this, it reminds me. Okay, so let's start working on the gusset. We're going to have our zipper tape, and then we're going to have our 2 gusset pieces. 2 zipper pieces. So there's a couple ways you can go about this. All right, so if you're like really good, you can just like measure like 1/4 of an inch or 3/8 of an inch, whatever suits your fancy, and tape it down and stitch it down. I am not the best at this because I would need to trace it out and then you would see that line. So I'm going to do the good old-fashioned way, and we're going to put this right sides together and we're going to sew it together. Now, when you do this, when we're sewing this together, we're going to sew this together at, if I'm not mistaken, is on page... We're going to sew this together at 1/4 of an inch. This is a very slippery material, so either you're going to need to double side put some tape, or you're going to need to clip really well and just take your time. All right, so 1/4 of an inch, right sides together, back stitch, I usually put the slippery material on the bottom because even though I have a compound walking foot, when you guys see me sewing on the 5550, I usually put the more slippery on the bottom and the more structure on the top. It just somehow balances out a little bit easier for me. Okay. All right. Then we're going to fold this onto itself. And again, you could use double-sided tape, but you might see it. Just really depending on the double-sided tape that you are using. And we're going to top stitch this at 1/8 of an inch from the crease. I'm going to back stitch 1 stitch just so I can lock it in. And this is, you can use contrasting thread for an accent piece. I'm using a purple almond. I think I got this from Sunny Sews. It's like a really pretty purple. Okay, we got that. Let's do the other side. And we're just going to clip everything in place. One-fourth of an inch. My mom is a total pink girl, so it's like hilarious how much I don't like pink. That woman would paint the town pink. And pink looks amazing on her. I just always like the color blue, and I do like my second favorite color is like this light purple, which like this lilac purple. I don't know why. It just always intrigued me how pretty it is. And there's some irony to this, right? So when I went to So Magical, before I went, like 4 or 5 days before I went to this hairdresser that I went to prior, and I was like, hey, I would like to go blonde, but I want some like balayage lilac purple throughout my hair. And she's like, yeah, I can do this. I could totally do it. I gave her some references to some other curly girls that look like me, like that have like similar skin complexions, because I know hairdressers, I feel for you, because people will be like, give me this haircut, and it'll be like Holly Berry, and the person is either like they have like totally different skin complexion, different tones, different hair textures, different curl patterns, different, whatever. And you're like, dude, I cannot give you this haircut. You're not going to look like Holly Berry, right? And I know it. So I looked for a very long time for a person that had like the same curl pattern as me, very similar complexion and whatever. And I found this girl who had exactly what I wanted. She had blonde curls, and she had like lilac balayage throughout her hair, and it wasn't like overwhelming. It was very, very faint, and it was like the very last lower portions of her hair. And I was like, yes, this is what I want. I desperately want this. So she puts me in her chair, and I'm getting the bleaching process. I should have left right when I seen the 40 volume. And I get it. A lot of people see my hair, my texture, and they automatically think that they need to put a high texture in my hair. My hair turns white really fast for whatever the reason may be. It didn't fall out. I got to a hot, almost like platinum blonde. And so I was like, cool, I'm just going to let her tone it, and I'll find somebody else to do it. She was like, no, I can balayage it. She gets Mondo's purple, like this dark purple, like darker than this. And she slathers it all over my hair, like all over my hair, except like 2 inches from the roots. My heart broke. And now I don't ever want to get my hair done at a salon again. So, That's probably why this was hiding. All right. So now you guys have heard my horror story. So I'm going to take, this is the base and this is the thing. So the base is a little bit bigger than, it's about a half an inch bigger than the top piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this to my table and cut this the same length as the zipper panel, so we don't have any issues when we put these two together. Just 1 second. You want to make sure your zipper panel and your base panel are the exact same measurement, or it's going to be very unusual. I mean, it may work out, and it may be some areas are more like, kind of like, I don't want to say three-dimensional, but protrude out more than the others. Yeah, it was exactly about a half an inch. All right. So now we're going to put these zippers on and then put the connectors on. I like the color combo too. It's very light. Yeah, I'm still mad about that. And it's like crazy because there's like all these really cool hair people for curly hair on Instagram, and I really want to go to them, but this lady just like totally scarred me for life. So I don't know if I can trust another hairdresser for a while. I just cut out all the blonde and my hair's like 100% virgin again, and I definitely love color, but man. So what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to measure about a half inch down, and on these from the bottom edge, so that way they can hang down in there. There's some kind of leverage. All right. So I'm going to connect these here. Move the line right at the edge, and then I'm going to baste these in place. And when I say baste, I mean like I'm going to backstitch several times over the zipper. We're creating basically kind of like a zipper stop. If you think about it, I'm going to go forward and I'm going to go back. What you don't want to do is open up your zipper and then your zipper flies off and you're like, dong, got it. I got to open this up, hand sew, and all that stuff. See, and like when you see that, it didn't even catch it at all. So you want to make sure when you're putting this gusset in and everything that you catch that zipper. I'm going to go back over it. That's why I put 2 zippers, regardless if the pattern calls for it or not, because I've had it where I've had zippers come off because there was nothing to stop the zipper from coming off, and you're just like, okay. So we're gonna put these right sides together, and remember this is a half inch seam allowance. Okay. We're going to back stitch at the beginning and the end. And just take your time. we're just going to make sure we continue to trim these threads because this is a see-through bag, you don't want to have like messy ends. We're going to top stitch this at 1/8 of an inch. Okay, let's do this side. I'm so nervous about this because this is, you know, jelly is like super unforgiving because there's like zero stretch. And we're going to top stitch just at 1/8 of an inch on the other side. All right. So we're going to find our centers. And then just clip these sides by side. And then we'll clip our centers with a small V. All right. All right. So we're going to put right sides together, but we need to do something. We need to clip this and we need to find out where a 1/2 inch is on both sides and mark it, and then we're going to clip it so that way we know that's not where we're going to sew. So right here is the end of each side. This is the center. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure that I got this. So at the end of this panel, the exterior panel, on the gusset, we need to mark a 1/2 inch on both sides. And this is where we're going to stop and start at. So what I'm doing is I'm going to do this on the other side too, so that way it's not difficult when I put this first one in. So you see I have, this is where I'm going to stop and start on this side. And now I'm going to put this side, right sides together and figure out where I have to stop and start on this other part of the gusset. Therefore, you're not like struggling like, okay, Where do I need to stop and start at? So I'm just taking a ruler, and because it's jelly, I can see my exterior panel, where the exterior panel is. I am just marking a 1/2 inch. All right. So since I have this one clipped, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to sew, stop and start at the 1/2 inch points. I'm going to sew a 1/2 inch, back stitching well. Sorry, that's my puppy. I guess my husband is doing something because he is literally maneuvering around. All right. So then I'm going to trim my threads. And then I'm going to I'm going to clip this in place. Now, what she has is I'm going to staple this because I'm going to cut the staples out. And then I'm going to clip that 1/2 inch. And what you could do is you can staple or you can clip, whatever is easier for you. We're going to do that on the other side. And you can already see how this is taking shape. It's a really beautiful bag. The simple clipping and the unique curve on the top gives you like the perfect tombstone. And like you can let your imagination run wild. If you're a huge Tim Burton fan, you can have so much fun. Purple all the way. Lynette, you're like the talk of my house right now. Like everyone is talking about you. You have to understand, my family is the most pickiest eaters ever. And I taught at the Treat Yourself in North Carolina this past, was it June? And Lynette was super kind. She gave the whole entire class nice to meet you gifts, and there were she made preserves, right? So I was flying and I knew I couldn't take my preserves. So my friend Arnetta, she lives not that far from me. She was like, I'll take it and I'll send it to you. So when she sent it to me, we put the preserves up. I opened them up. Oh my God, my daughter is obsessed with them. She puts them on everything. And then you got my father-in-law, I think halfway in love with you, Lynette, because he's from Louisiana, and unfortunately most of his siblings have passed away. It's just him and his baby sister, and your strawberry preserves are making him remember his family, and he is tearing those preserves up, and everyone's just like talking about him like, oh, it's my friend Lynette who made them. Is he available? Oh no, you're no you're too important to me. Yeah, you have him like, woo. He's like, oh my God, this is the best preserves I've ever had. I was like, yeah, my friend Lynette made them. She's awesome. Yeah, and you have Hope just like singing to the mountaintops. So now we're gonna do another 1/2 inch. Okay, let's get this started. Make sure you backstitch at the beginning and the end. I know it's at an unusual position, but you got this. And like I said, you can put staples all the way through this if you want, because you're doing a 1/2 inch. Like you have a lot of room. This is what I love about this bag. Sometimes I'm like, no, do 3/8 of an inch, or no, do 1/4 of an inch. But one of my favorite things about swoon patterns is that 1/2 inch, because it gives you room for error, and it also gives you room to do like secondary stitching for like reinforcement. And trust and believe, I need reinforcements. I'm hard on my bags. I don't know if anyone else is, but if you ever see me with my bag, those things get, like, I see some people so gentle. Mine get thrown around like it's a football. I'm really excited to see how this comes out. I have a funny feeling I'm going to stick my wallet in this immediately and be like, it's my bag. So tomorrow, when me and Brittany do for the Love a Change bag, it's going to be at 11 o'clock. I'm really excited to do that with her. I've never sewn with Brittany before. I've been wanting to. I got to work with her a little bit at the Wizardly Stitchery retreat, and she was just the kindest, sweetest little soul. And I'm like, I get to sew with her, and I'm excited. So I'm going to go around with my pinking shears and pink, because we have raw edges. So I'm just going to make it nice and neat. You're supposed to trim your thing to 1/4 of an inch, but because this is jelly, I'm going to go a little closer to almost 1/8 of an inch. And see how I didn't even touch the staple? It's just lost in there. And if you wanted to bind this, you could, but this is just another way of you not having to bind stuff. If you bind it, it will give it a little bit more structure, but I personally love structure, but sometimes I like a bag to be a little bit slouchy and just be nice and soft against the body. And by pinking it, you give it a very interesting kind of like finished look. There you go. See? Oh, look at how cute that is. That is going to be the cutest little bag. All right, let's do this other one. All right, so we're going to start with the bottom again. Right sides together. And we're just going to clip it. And remember, we have that 1/2 inch start and stop. Oh my God. You're amazing. I don't know how you do everything that you do, Lynette. Like, I swear you're Superwoman. We're going to back stitch. That I was like, I gotta tell her, because like, yes, you're the talk of the house this morning, because like Hope was making biscuits, and like my daughter, she can cook. Like the thing is that she loves to cook when the boys are out of the house, because like she is not the one that'll be like, here's this is something for you, brother. Like I'm gonna give you. She is like the weirdest feminist you've ever seen. She's funny. She's 14, right? So like she's in the Dungeon and Dragons after school program. You heard me. She is truly my child. Okay. So she's in this program, right? And they get like sodas or whatever, but she does think of her brother. So she had an extra ginger ale. She comes into the house, and instead of like being like, here, Kendall, I brought this home for you, she like tosses it like a football, and she's like, this is for you. And I'm like, she's like, it's like I took my rib out and gave birth to a child, because she has like my mannerisms, like how playful I am, and like kind of my like dark sense of humor. And I'm sitting here trying not to laugh, because Ken, although he looks like a lot like me, he has such a compassionate, sweet soul, just like his dad. Like Kendall Senior has like the sweet. My husband has like the sweetest soul you've ever encountered. He's just a very kind, sweet man. Like, but with that being said, like he doesn't have like when you have someone that has a really dark sense of humor and that is super playful with someone that is a little bit more emotional, sometimes you guys can cross wires because they don't understand that you're playing, and at the same time you have to learn how to regulate and understand that you can be hurtful. So it's like a learning process. But that's her. So she came last yesterday, the boys were gone at a football watching a football game, and she's making biscuits, and she's like, I know dad's been eating the preserves, but I really like them. And can I have some? And I was like, yeah. And so she comes up to the stairs. We're watching Abbott Elementary. She's like, yeah, can you tell whoever made the preserves that they're just amazing? And I had to tell you because you have to understand, Hope is like the pickiest eater in the world. Like her liking something is always like our face lights up because she she is a very picky eater. Now, if it was my son, it's like, okay, it's Tuesday. Ken likes everything. So, this morning I was like, I gotta tell her. I just gotta tell her. And then when I told my husband was like, yeah, when I was cutting my dad's hair, he had some, and he was just like, oh my God, this tastes just like what my brother made in Louisiana. If you guys are not familiar, I probably mentioned it several times. My husband is from Louisiana. So you guys I might start making some clear bags. I'm kind of feeling this jelly in this. It's not clear. You can see it. It's clear-ish. That's why I put ish in the title. What up, Christine? I bet you could put like a double-sided tape, like 1/8 of an inch, and kind of just stick it on here too. Because it's like she has this gusset fitting good. You know when a gusset fits good, it fits good. I needed a gusset one after that hat. I'm not gonna lie. I was I went on such a deep dive after that. You guys have no idea. Like if something doesn't sit right with me, I will research it until it does. And I'm just rolling out the wrinkles. I want to make sure everything sits perfectly. One of my clips, you'll be missed. How am I using more clips than I did last time? It's okay. It's okay. All right. Let's go. So we're going to sew this around at a 1/2 inch. I'm going to feed this into the machine at the side. As you can see, it's really pliable and it's full of air, so you can just release the air. All right, and let's trim this down. Get those threads. Okay, and let's birth this. I'm just taking the seams and I'm rolling them with my fingers. Oh my god, this is the cutest little bag. And we have, my friends, a tombstone. It worked out. Okay. It just, and what you could do is you can get a hot towel, like put a towel in a dryer and then stick it in the bag and just like stuff it in, and it will start to form its shape, because you can't really put an iron in here, but it will form its shape. And this is so, it is so cute. And then you just put your little thing on there and you're ready to go for Halloween, and it stays up. It's full. It, like, I love this. So again, the jelly is from Glitterbug. The clear jelly is from Glitterbug Fairy. This spooky Halloween thing is from Sam's Creations in Canada. The pink and mauve zipper tape is from Handmade Space, and the zipper pulls are from Waywack. The hardware I used today was from Waywack, and the webbing is from Georgia Girl Stitch. I really like how this came out. It's really unique, right? You have your little tombstone that's super sweet, super nice, and people, I guarantee you, people are going to come and ask you, where'd you get your bag? And you can just say, I made it. And then, of course, you get your pattern from Etsy. I put the link again inside the description box, as well as the chat. There's no affiliation. It's just supporting another small business. And you should really check out Crossbody's patterns. Not even her patterns, but just her work. She has incredible, impeccable work. She makes the coolest pumpkin bags by far I've ever seen in my life. So that is it, my friends. Tomorrow, I'll be going live and sewing with Brittany at 11 o'clock, and we're going to be doing For the Love of Change with a Halloween twist. And of course, I'll do Captain's Log in the morning. So that is it. If you have any questions, please feel free to message me or leave a comment down below if you like it. If you can hit that like, subscribe, and comment down below, it helps the channel out tremendously. Until I talk to you again, stay whimsical. Bye.